Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm gonna try and talk extra loud to overpower the AC going on in the background because it is the hottest day of the year so far here. Wonderful. Fun times. Anyway, today is the start of another reading vlog, and this is a book I got at the library at the start of June, and I had other books to read beforehand, so I just haven't gotten to it yet until now. And it actually turned out to be perfect because Gabby from Gabby Reads just came out with a video a few days ago about this Summerween readathon, and I've never participated in a readathon or anything like that before. And I'll kind of be cheating here because I'm going to be reading this and doing this in June, and it's not until the start of July. But I'm not going to post this video until July, so good enough for me. But this book really works perfect with it. I just don't really want to force myself to have to read a specific book in a specific time frame, I guess, so I'm just doing it this way. It still counts though, in my opinion. So this readathon actually takes place from July 2nd through the 8th, or in my case, mid-June. There are 5 challenges and this book fits all of them, which I am very happy with. But before I say the challenges, let me at least introduce the book. That is the Southern Book Club's Guide to Vampire Slaying by Grady Hendrix. This came out last year in 2020 and is a fantasy horror, so this is right up the alley of this readathon. So the challenges of the readathon are: number 1, bake or make a drink with your spooky read. So this one obviously doesn't have anything to do with the book. And as of today, it's Wednesday and we're in the middle of a heat wave, but tomorrow it's supposed to start storming, and over the weekend the temperature should drop. So I'm probably gonna wait until the weekend to do this, but I actually have cookie cutters of like ghosts and a bat and coffin and stuff, so like Halloween cookie cutters. And I'll probably use those to make sugar cookies because I've only done it once before and I've been wanting to give it another go. So I'm pretty excited for that. The second one is read a book in the dark, which I usually read in the evening or the nighttime anyway, so that'll be pretty easy for me to do. 3, read a paranormal book. This is about vampires. I mean, it doesn't get more paranormal than that. Number 4, read a horror book, which, ta-da! And my favorite part of the challenge is read a book with black or orange on the cover, and look at that! It has both. So this ended up working out so perfectly. This is the perfect book to read for this, and I'm just really excited for it overall. So I've heard this book talked about quite a bit over all of the book world, and I have not read the description yet, but what I know about it is obviously it's about a book club. And I think one of the women suspects something about a neighbor, and no one believes her at all because she's just like a housewife or whatever. And I guess things just kind of escalate until their lives might be endangered or something like that. But I'm in the local book club here, so I think it'll be kind of interesting reading a book about a book club. And I love vampires, so far this seems right up my alley. I also have read one other Grady Hendrix book. It was like My Best Friend's Exorcism, I believe it was called. And I listened to that through audiobook actually, and I really enjoyed it. So I'm hoping it'll be kind of in a similar vein of that. So let's read the description together. Oh my god, why is this long? Does it go on the other side? No, good, okay. It says, Patricia Campbell's life has never felt smaller. Her husband is a workaholic, her teenage kids have their own lives. Her senile mother-in-law needs constant care, and she's always a step behind on her endless to-do list. The only thing keeping her sane is her book club, a close-knit group of Charleston women united by their love of true crime. At these meetings, they're as likely to talk about the Manson family as they are about their own families. Oh, that's pretty cool. One evening after book club, Patricia is viciously attacked by an elderly neighbor, bringing the neighbor's handsome nephew, James Harris, into her life. James is well-traveled and well-read, and he makes Patricia feel things she hasn't felt in years. Uh-oh. But when children on the other side of town go missing, their deaths written off by local police, Patricia has reason to believe James Harris is more of a Bundy than a Brad Pitt. The real problem? James is a monster of a different kind, and Patricia has already invited him in. Haha, nice reference there. Little by little, James will insinuate himself into Patricia's life and try to take everything she took for granted, including the book club. But she won't surrender without a fight in this blood-soaked tale of neighborly kindness gone wrong. Alright, so that's actually a pretty interesting description. It sounds like something that I'll like, but I'll probably have some problems with in the end, because I can kind of see how her being a housewife, there might be some problematic situations that arise, and especially like he makes her feel things she hasn't felt in a long time. So we'll see, but this is a little bit of a thicker book. How many pages are there here? Ooh, I think we're just over 400 or something like that. So, but I'm excited to see what other people read for this readathon, and I'm looking forward to getting into this, so let's do it! Today is Thursday. I don't know what day it is, like the date thing. And I read around 50-ish pages of this last night. I completely forgot to check, and I don't really want to. But finally, interesting stuff was starting to happen where I did stop. The first few chapters, it's more just like introducing the characters, and that was pretty boring, really. And this is also written a bit odd. Like, I kind of was confused on who was being talked about at a few points, and I wasn't really understanding like whose point of view I was seeing this from. So it started out a bit odd with that, and then it's a bit boring, and now it's picking up. But I feel like that's been a running theme lately with the first 50 pages of books just being really blah, and it just not really getting into the story well. So since this is a pretty long book, I'm hoping that it just goes up from here. Touch the blep. Oh, yuck. So it's now a few hours later, and we just turned the AC off because it's finally raining and it's finally cooled off a little bit. And I realized I didn't really say what the book is about so far. So we follow our main character, Patricia. She has essentially joined this like really pretentious book club, and she hasn't read the book that she's supposed to do like this 20-minute presentation on. So she goes there, tries to fudge it, fails, and the book club essentially falls apart. And some of the other members kind of start their own side book club, but not a book club thing, but they read just true crime stories, which I think is pretty interesting considering the podcasts I listen to. And this goes on for 4 to 5 years. I can't remember the exact number, but so we have this book club that's been going on for years and years. And one night when Patricia is walking home from book club, she takes out her trash and is attacked by an old neighbor lady, and the scene's pretty disturbing and graphic. Actually, it surprised me a bit, and this is kind of her first introduction to the vampires, I believe. And she gets her freaking earlobe like bitten off, and this is where we kind of see that her husband pretty much doesn't really care much. It just seems more of like an inconvenience for him. And the chapter pretty much stopped as they were driving home, I believe. And now I am on chapter 5, and that's where I'm going to start tonight. So not a lot happened, and then all of a sudden everything happened. So we'll see how graphic and gory this ends up being. Hey, it's the next day. We are finally Friday, and I am being very distracted by this pretty cockle boy here. Yeah. Oh, he big stinky yawn. Big stinky yawn. He laying on the counter. You're looking the wrong way. Oh my goodness. Ori, there you are. There's his face. There's his face. Pretty boy. Anyway, sorry about that. It's another hot day here. We have the AC on. Same old at this point. So last night I managed to get to chapter 11. I'm on page 113, and Patricia is a very, very dumb character. I can kind of see why people have some issues with this book already. She just makes really weird and dumb decisions that normal people really wouldn't make. Like, I don't get it, and it's a bit frustrating. So, where did I leave off telling you guys last time? Oh yeah, so yeah, she got attacked, and her ear got freaking bitten off, and so she's back from the hospital and all that, and oh yeah, and then the woman that attacked her passes away, and so she's like, oh, I need to take something to the nephew, like for his loss or whatever, even though his aunt was the one that attacked me. So she goes over there and she knocks on the door, no answer. So like a normal person, she walks right in and like goes right up to the bedroom door that's cracked and opens it and finds the dude laying on a bed. Like, you know, totally normal behavior. And that whole thing goes not good, obviously. And later on, the dude comes over to her house to apologize because he was not exactly happy from having a stranger in his house. He seems like kind of fascinated with her and stuff. And she just kind of like latches onto him, and she makes these really stupid decisions of like, oh, he needs help with all these bills and stuff. So even though our money's tight, I'm gonna write him checks just based on his promise that he's going to pay me back. And it's just like, you just met this dude and you're literally giving him like $400. What the fuck? And she like invites him to the book club and stuff, and she's just trying to like incorporate him into her life. And when they're at the book club, it's actually really funny because like the book they're talking about and the way the other ladies describe it is exactly what he's doing. Describes like his exact situation and everything, and it's just kind of like, you are stupid. You are a very dumb character. And I don't know if that's like the point or what, but she just does all these weird things that I can't imagine a normal person like actually doing. And especially like the money thing, for someone you have no idea if they're actually going to be able to like pay you back, and I don't know, it's just so weird, and like you don't really have any reason to help them to begin with. So I don't really know how to feel about this yet. I'm hoping things are gonna start changing now, but I'm hoping like there be a little bit more action and stuff, because so far it's just kind of like, wow, you're just making one bad decision after another, okay. So it's now the evening, and it rained and cooled down enough to open everything back up. The wind feels pretty nice right now, actually. Oh, and there's the dart. She's rolling around on the ground now. So I've made it to chapter 17, page 168. I'm nearing the halfway point here, and stuff is finally happening. This definitely seems like a book where more is going to happen in the second half than the first half. But so far we've found out that some children have gone missing, and it's been happening for a few months now, except it isn't something that's really been reported on, and they've kind of been like misidentified as like an accident or a suicide and things like that. The neighbor, James Harris, who seems to be like the vampire, hasn't really been in any of the chapters. I've read it all, but he's been mentioned because Patricia thinks that he's the one taking these kids, and obviously like they don't think he's like a vampire or anything like that. They just think he's like a child snatcher right now. So I'm kind of curious to see how this kind of morphs into them thinking that he's some paranormal figure. So far, my favorite character has actually been Patricia's mother-in-law, Mary, who has been living with her and her family. There's an event that happened and she's no longer living there with them, but can't really talk about that much. But some crazy things have happened, and pretty much no one believes Patricia, but she's only told like 2 people so far. Right now it's evening and another child has gone missing, and so right where I just left off, it seems like Patricia's gonna try and like go out in the woods to try and find this child herself. So I wonder if there's gonna be an encounter or something, or she's gonna see something she shouldn't.
where it kind of leans more toward her thinking he's a vampire kind of thing. I don't know, but it's definitely picking up. But I don't know, I feel kind of strange about this book. It takes place in the 80s, the late 80s, early 90s, and the topics on women and like being a housewife and like the safe part of town and the bad part of town and like all of that are just like, ooh. There's some sketchy commentary on those, but I'm definitely hoping this gets a little bit better, because I think right now this just feels like a really average book to me, like it would be a 3. However, it is unexpectedly brutal. Like some of the events that have happened were pretty like gory and descriptive, and it's just like, oh, okay. So those have actually been pretty interesting. And one thing I really like is that the chapters are pretty short, and I feel like if they were any longer, I would feel like this was getting dull. I'm rather liking just being able to get through the chapters really quick, because I can be like, oh, I'm gonna read a chapter and then check on this, and then I can read another chapter and check on something else. And so it's really easy to just knock out a chapter in between like chores or something, and I really appreciate that. Maybe tonight I'll try the reading in the dark part of the Summerween. It's evening, but as you can see, it's still light out, so can't exactly do that yet.
I'm on chapter 24, page 240, and stuff is happening, and there just was a time skip that really, really surprised me, so I'm just kind of like, what? Why? So, holy gaslighting motherfuckers. Everyone in this book is so annoying and just anger-inducing, and I feel so sorry for Patricia. Like, oh my god, I could not stand that. So, and there's a cat right here. Squirrel butt. Squirrely squirrel. He a dancing boy. Look at that dancing boy. Doot, doot, doot. Anyway, characters that are very, very frustrating. So, things have been happening, and like the description says, like, no one is believing her, and it's driving me crazy. And they're even like gaslighting her for what she saw. Like, no, there's no way you could have possibly seen that. And like, the shit would make me go crazy. Like, oh my god. And so it's definitely gotten more interesting, and now I'm interested to see what's gonna happen after this huge time skip. And that really caught me off guard, and it's doing it at a really like crazy point, and so it's just like, what? But today's Saturday, I almost forgot to say that, and we're actually gonna go to a friend's birthday dinner tonight, so that'll be fun. It's supposed to be storming outside though, so that'll be a bit interesting. But it'll be our first time dining inside a restaurant since September of last year. So that's gonna be really fun. I look a bit like a death, but that's okay. So I'm on chapter 30, page 292, and it's getting a bit cliche and tropey now. Like, I definitely recognize some of what's happening in here from like some movies and stuff, so I don't really know how I feel about how this story is set up, because some of the parts I'm really liking, and then others it's just kind of like eh, and I just find this so frustrating. I have just over 100 pages to go, but I don't think I'm gonna finish it tonight. It's already 10 here, which is why I'm trying to film this right now, to have at least some sort of update, because it'll be too late for me to film anymore soon. But probably tomorrow I'll finish it for sure, since it'll be Sunday and still the weekend. But I definitely want to know what's gonna happen. I just really dislike most of the characters, and that's kind of just making me wish the story was done. So here I go to read a few more. So I lied and finished this all last night. It took me a few hours, but I kind of just wanted it to be done, and I was pretty much hate reading it by the end, actually. So, yeah. But now, it's actually cool enough where I can make sugar cookies for part of Summerween. So, I find it kind of ironic that I'm doing it the day after I finished reading this, but that's how it goes. At least I can say my final thoughts on this, and we can kind of end on a good note with cookies. So I kind of have stuff like measured out already, so I mainly just have to mix things. I forgot to get the cutters out. So I've only used these cutters once before, and the cookies were okay, so hopefully these come out a bit better, but I have Halloween ones. There's like a ghost, a pumpkin, and then a bat and a coffin. So I'm trying different recipes, so maybe this will turn out better. So this book, I really feel like I was bamboozled with it. The first third, I think, was the best and most normal. And my phone was full, so I had to make some room again. Great, that seems like a running theme now. So anyway, I really thought I was gonna rate this book a 3 to a 3.5 from the first third that I was reading of it. But then it evolved into everyone just gaslighting the main character, Patricia. Like, it was so bad, and it was giving me like really bad flashbacks from some things that I have experienced, and it was just basically really upsetting me, and I just hated all the characters, and no one was supporting her at all, and it just got to the point where it wasn't an enjoyable story anymore, and it was really harmful to the main character as well, as she, I guess, spoiler alert, ended up ODing on pills, and it's just like, okay, this is supposed to be a slightly humorous story because it's Grady Hendrix, and the main character is freaking ODing on pills from all the gaslighting she's experiencing because she just can't believe anything anymore because everyone is telling her that what she has seen, like, didn't actually happen. Then, beyond that, we actually have a rape that happened just out of nowhere. I was not expecting it at all. It's more toward like the endish part of the book, like the last like 150 pages I think it happens in. And it literally just came out of nowhere and surprised me because this book has been like brutal, but in like a gory way, not in a sexual assault way. So I just really didn't expect the book to go in that direction, and I really dislike stuff like that happening in the horror I consume, so I just really wasn't okay with that, and it really took me out of the story itself. And also, with it happening, one of the characters mentions something that makes it seem like something's going to come from this happening, and gives like a justification for this happening. But then nothing comes of it, and so it's just kind of like, oh my god, like, did we really have to go there? So that was just one thing that I thought was really frustrating, is everyone in this book is an asshole. Every relationship is toxic. Like, all of the women are married and are housewives, and all of their husbands are cheating on them. None of them are really close anymore. The wives all left their careers to just get married. Like, that's one thing that I thought was crazy, is this book is in the 90s. Like, I was born in the 90s. And, like, the main character, Patricia, she was a nurse, and she had to leave her job to marry this dude. Like, what? Why? That doesn't make any sense. And so it really felt like this book was more taking place in, like, the 40s or 50s with the gender roles and like the marriage rules and everything. It just was bizarre, and there wasn't a single relationship that was good, and so every example was just horrible, and the men were in complete control of the women's lives. Like, there's one scene where one of the husbands get angry because it's like, you dare embarrass me in public? And it's just like, whoa, slow down there, dude. What? And so, content warning, there's a bit of domestic abuse in this. So it just takes a turn to where I just couldn't be on board with the story anymore. So after I wrote my review for this, I decided to rate it a 2, just for the concepts and ideas that I did like, but showing that there's still problems here. So basically what I did actually like out of the book was the character, Miss Mary, who's pretty much only there in the beginning, actually. So she's not in there for too long, but she is more of an integral part of the story. And then I did enjoy the brutality of some of the scenes. It felt a lot like a horror story, like it was supposed to. And like I said, it was more like gore and like body horror. And since it's vampires, I really like the portrayal of them as like these bloody, like disgusting creatures and being like very brutal. Someone is dying outside, apparently. And so I kind of liked how that was more the portrayal we were going with here. Also, I really wish that we saw more of the vampire character and saw more of how he kind of ingrained himself in the family's lives. Because he ended up feeling like more of a minor character in the end, especially through the midway point. He was mainly there in the beginning and the end, and in the middle it was just kind of more of mentions of him than anything. This book also just felt too long. There was a lot of like starting and stopping when it came to like the excitement in the book and just with how interesting it was. I found myself kind of skimming at some points, which is something that I really, wow, okay, thank you, flower, which is something that I really haven't done with the books until like this month, I feel like, because this month has just been a strange reading month for me in general. Oh my god, can I stop getting flour all over myself? But I feel like this story definitely could have been condensed down. There are several time skips in it even. So it takes place over like a decade, and the ending also isn't that satisfying. Like the main character, Patricia, actually isn't a major part of it. She's not really like involved in most of what's happening. So it all just feels very strange in the end, I guess, and not very satisfying. But looking back on the reviews of this book just blows my mind how many 5-star ratings there are. Like, I just don't understand how other people like don't have an issue with the friend group and the husbands and everything, and just how like everyone was against this character in such a mindfuck way, like in such a terrible, horrible way. So if you ever wish to read this book for some reason, be aware if you've experienced like gaslighting in your life and things of that nature, because it's going to be very prevalent. And this dough still seems way too wet. And what was I going to say? Oh yeah, and content warning for rape, obviously, but also child death and just sexual assaults in general. Also the body horror, there's a lot of gore and blood, so just be prepared for that. This is a book I've been wanting to read for quite a while, and so obviously I'm more disappointed in the end, especially since I have read Grady Hendrix's My Best Friend's Exorcism, and I rather enjoyed that, but I did listen to that through audiobook, and so I wonder if that has anything to do with how I felt about it, but I'm really not sure. So I'm not supposed to, like, I don't have to chill this dough, but I think I'm going to let it chill a little bit just because it's a bit warm out, and I feel like the butter might be too melty, and I don't know, the dough still just seems like more wet than it's supposed to be. So BRB. Alright, I don't have the patience for waiting on this, and I don't think this is gonna go very well. Which, my first attempt of making sugar cookies wasn't exactly the best either. So let's try this. Alright, flour, all the things, yeah. Grab a hunk of this. Oh god. Wow, okay, yeah, it's very wet. It just fucking holds on to everything. I don't know how this is gonna go. I don't trust this at all. I don't know where to put this. There. Alright, let's see. Oh god, oh god, oh god. This seems way too soft. I'm like, don't even have to push down on the rolling pin. There is cat hair. This is not going good. Alright, good enough. Let's try this. Boop. So these probably aren't going to be even, but honestly, I don't think okay, no. Please, no. Please, no, okay, yeah. So it's sticking, which it's not supposed to do. Alright, we are just gonna, yep. Not gonna mess with that. And I'm gonna have to add more flour, I guess. Like, okay, yeah, this isn't working at all. Alright. Let's try this again. 'Cause it's sticking. Oh my god, it really is sticking. The recipe said it did not need much flour. I have determined that is a lie. Alright, take two. Oh wow, okay, it's already breaking apart. Great. What we need, right? Oh, please, no. BB, what is you doing? Oh my god, I hate everything. I can't. Don't really know what to do in this situation. This is not my forte. Let's try this again. Cookie. Oh my god, oh my god. We have one cookie that doesn't look very right. Oh boy. Coming up a bit better. Oh my god. We're doing it, boys. We're doing it. god. Oh, okay, you lost everything. All right. Try that again. Oh my god, it's happening. And I have so much dough left too. Like, oh my god, how is this gonna work? I don't know. This is gonna go. And here's the first batch. They are not cooked even at all because our oven is incapable of doing that. And yeah, definitely not the best, but I tried. And as long as they're edible, that's all we can ask for, right? So that's all. As always, thank you for hanging out with me, even while I make terribly cooked sugar cookies. That was worse than I expected, to be honest. If you did enjoy this video, though, please give a likes and subscribe, yes, as well, as that does help me out a lot. And happy Summerween! And until next time, bonne journée and au revoir.